Salt. It sits on our tables, we sprinkle it on our meals. It seems so ordinary, so simple, we use it every single day without much thought. But what if this common substance holds uncommon secrets? What if salt is more than just a way to make food taste good? Could it be a key to understanding something much bigger, something about the universe itself? We are about to embark on a journey to explore this very idea. Prepare to see salt in a whole new light, a cosmic light. Imagine energy flowing all around us like invisible rivers. Imagine information, messages, traveling through space and time. How does this happen? The universe uses many pathways. Stars send out light, which is energy and information. Gravity shapes galaxies. But what about smaller scales? What about here on Earth, or even within ourselves? Could simple materials like salt play a role as conductors? Could they be tiny highways for this cosmic traffic of energy and information? This is a question worth asking. A question scientists are beginning to explore. The cosmos is vast and full of wonders. From the smallest particles to the largest galaxy clusters, we are always looking for connections. How do things interact? How does the universe work? Sometimes the biggest clues are found in the most unexpected places, not just in giant telescopes looking at distant stars, but also in a tiny grain of salt. Its structure, its properties might tell us something profound, something about the fundamental nature of reality, about how energy moves and transforms. So let's dig deeper. Let's look at salt with the eyes of an explorer. We will journey through ancient beliefs. We will examine its amazing crystal structure. We will see how modern science is unlocking its hidden powers. And we will think about what this all means. For us, for our technology, and for our connection to the universe, salt, the humble seasoning, might just be a cosmic connector, waiting for us to understand its full story. Wow. Long ago, salt was incredibly precious. Sometimes it was even more valuable than gold. Think about that. Why? Before refrigerators, how did people keep food from spoiling? Salt was the answer. It preserved meat and fish. It allowed civilizations to store food for long journeys. Or for lean winter months. Salt meant survival. It was a cornerstone of developing societies. It was quite literally the spice of life and the preserver of communities. Its importance cannot be overstated in human history. Because salt was so vital for life, it gained deep symbolic meaning. Across many cultures, it represented purity. It stood for something that does not decay, something incorruptible. Think of ancient rituals. Salt was often used to cleanse, to protect, to make sacred agreements. Covenants of salt were serious promises meant to last forever. This shows how much people respected and valued this simple mineral. It was woven into the fabric of their spiritual lives, not just their physical survival. Some ancient philosophers looked at the world, they tried to understand what it was made of. They identified fundamental elements: earth, air, fire, water. And for some, salt was also considered a key element. They saw it as a kind of bridge, a substance that could connect the physical world with something more, perhaps with spirit or with divine energies. They sensed a special quality in salt, a power that went beyond its taste or its ability to preserve, a deeper, more essential nature. These old ideas are fascinating, aren't they? Thousands of years ago, people felt salt was special. They didn't have our modern scientific tools. They couldn't see atoms or electrons. Yet, they attributed profound qualities to salt. Were they just imagining things? Or did they intuitively grasp something true? Something about salt's fundamental structure and its ability to interact with energy? Perhaps these ancient whispers are now being echoed by the discoveries of modern science. The story of salt is truly ancient and ongoing. So what is salt really when we look at it closely? The common salt we use is called sodium chloride. Its chemical formula is NaCl. This means it's made of two types of atoms, sodium, Na, and chlorine, Cl. But these atoms don't just hang out randomly. They arrange themselves in a very specific, very beautiful way. They form crystals. These crystals often look like tiny, perfect cubes. If you look at salt grains under a magnifying glass, you can sometimes see these shapes. This order is not accidental, it's fundamental to what salt is. Inside a salt crystal, the atoms are actually ions. Sodium atoms lose an electron and become positive ions, Na+. Chlorine atoms gain an electron and become negative ions, Cl. Opposites attract. So these positive and negative ions line up. Each sodium ion is surrounded by chloride ions. Each chloride ion is surrounded by sodium ions. This creates a repeating three-dimensional pattern. Imagine a perfectly built structure like a tiny intricate scaffold. This is called a crystal lattice. It's strong and stable. This ordered arrangement is key to salt's properties. Why is this structure so important? Well, this precise repeating pattern is not just for show. It's what gives salt its unique abilities. Think of it like this: a jumbled pile of bricks isn't very useful, but arrange those bricks in an ordered way and you can build a house or a highway. The crystal lattice of salt is like a perfectly designed highway system. It allows certain things like energy to move through it in specific ways. This order creates potential for conducting, for storing, for interacting. So, the crystalline form of salt is much more than just a pretty shape. It's the very heart of its power. This structure dictates how salt behaves, how it responds to heat, to pressure, to electrical fields. It's a natural marvel of atomic engineering. The universe has its own ways of creating incredible structures, and salt crystals are a prime example. They are tiny masterpieces of natural design. Understanding this design helps us understand salt's role as a potential conductor of energy and information. How does energy actually move around in the universe? Often it's through the movement of tiny particles called electrons. Electrons carry a negative electric charge. When they flow from one place to another, that's an electric current. Think of electricity powering your lights. That's a flow of electrons. This movement of electrons is a fundamental way that energy is transferred, from a battery to a toy, from a power plant to your home, or even from one atom to another. Now, how does salt fit into this picture of moving electrons? Salt crystals, with their ordered arrangement of positive and negative ions, can play a role. While salt in its solid, dry crystal form is usually an insulator, meaning it doesn't conduct electricity well, things change under certain conditions. The ions in the salt crystal lattice create an electrical environment. This environment can influence nearby electrons. It can, in some cases, provide pathways or help electrons to jump from one point to another, facilitating energy transfer. Think about what happens when you dissolve salt in water. It becomes an electrolyte. This means the solution can conduct electricity very well. Why? Because in water, the sodium and chloride ions separate. They become free to move. These moving ions can carry electric charge themselves, and they can also help guide the flow of electrons. This is crucial for batteries. It's also crucial for how our own nerves work. The principle is about charged particles being able to move and carry energy. But it's not just in water. Even in their solid crystal form, some types of salt or similar ionic crystals can exhibit interesting electrical properties. Under high temperatures or strong electric fields, they can become conductive. Defects or impurities in the crystal lattice can also create spots where electrons can move more easily. So the ordered structure of salt isn't just static. It's a stage upon which energy, often carried by electrons, can play out its dynamic dance. It's a subtle but important role. Section 5. Modern science unveils salt's energetic secrets. Today, scientists are like cosmic detectives. They have amazing tools, powerful microscopes, sensitive detectors, supercomputers for simulations. They are looking at everyday materials like salt in brand new ways. They are asking, what hidden properties does salt have? How does it really interact with energy at the most fundamental levels? And the answers they are finding are pretty exciting. It turns out salt is far from being a boring inert substance. It's full of surprises. What are some of these discoveries? Researchers are finding that certain types of salt crystals can store energy. They can absorb energy from light, for example, and release it later. Some crystals, when squeezed or put under pressure, can generate a tiny electrical voltage. This is called the piezoelectric effect. Conversely, applying an electric voltage can make them change shape. These are clues that salt and similar materials are active players in the world of energy dynamics, not just passive bystanders. There's also a whole new field called nanotechnology. This is science and engineering at the scale of atoms and molecules. Scientists are creating tiny salt crystals, just a few nanometers wide. At this incredibly small scale, materials often behave in completely new and unexpected ways. These nanosalt particles might have unique optical, electrical, or catalytic properties. These properties could lead to new applications we haven't even dreamed of yet. The smaller we look, the more wonders we often find. So, modern science is confirming that salt is indeed a dynamic material. It interacts with energy fields. It responds to its environment. Some scientists are even exploring if salt crystals could play a role in more exotic phenomena, perhaps even at the quantum level. The universe is a quantum realm after all. The more we learn, the more we see that even the simplest things are connected to the deepest laws of nature. Salt is a great example of this unfolding story of discovery. Section 6. Salt, our bodies, and the spark of consciousness. Let's bring this story closer to home, inside ourselves. Our bodies need salt. We can't live without it. Not too much, of course, but just the right amount. Why is it so essential? Salt, specifically the sodium and potassium ions from salts, plays a crucial role in many bodily functions. It helps maintain the balance of fluids in our cells. It's vital for proper muscle contraction, and incredibly importantly, it's essential for our nerves to work correctly. Our very life processes depend on it. Think about your nerves. They are like the wiring system of your body. They carry messages. From your brain to your hand to tell it to move. From your skin to your brain to tell you something is hot. How do these messages travel? They travel as tiny electrical signals. And how are these electrical signals generated? By the movement of ions including sodium, from salt, and potassium ions across the membranes of nerve cells. It's an amazing electrochemical process. Without salt, this fundamental communication system would break down. Now let's consider consciousness. That feeling of being aware, of thinking, feeling, experiencing the world. This is one of the biggest mysteries in science. What is consciousness? How does it arise from the physical stuff of our brain? Our brain is an incredibly complex network of nerve cells. Billions of them, all firing electrical signals, communicating with each other. Salt, through its role in nerve function, is undeniably part of this incredible machinery. It's part of the physical basis from which our thoughts and awareness emerge. So, could there be a deeper connection? We've talked about salt as a conductor of energy in the wider universe. We see its role in conducting electrical energy in our nervous system. Is it possible that the properties of salt that allow it to interact with energy and information on a cosmic scale are also in some way related to the flow of information within our brains? To the very processes that give rise to consciousness? It's a fascinating question that sits at the intersection of physics, biology, and philosophy. The humble salt grain connects us to big ideas. Section 7. Future Tech Harnessing Salt's Universal Power. If salt has these interesting properties, conducting energy, storing information, responding to its environment, can we use them? Can we build new technologies based on humble salt? Scientists and engineers are always looking for new materials with special abilities. And salt, or materials like it, offers some exciting possibilities. Think about energy storage. We all want better batteries. Batteries that last longer, charge faster, and are made from common, inexpensive materials. Perhaps salt-based technologies could help us get there. What about information processing? Our computers and smartphones rely on silicon chips, but researchers are exploring other ways to process and store information. Could tiny salt crystals, perhaps at the nanoscale, be used to create new types of computer components? Maybe components that use light instead of just electricity, or components that can store vast amounts of data in incredibly small spaces. The precise structure of crystals makes them good candidates for handling information in an ordered way. This is an active area of research. Then there are sensors. We need sensors for all sorts of things, to monitor our health, to check the quality of our environment, to explore distant planets. Because some salt-like crystals can change their properties in response to tiny changes in temperature, pressure, or chemical surroundings, they could be used to make highly sensitive detectors. Imagine tiny salt-based sensors that could detect pollutants in the air, or help doctors diagnose diseases earlier. The possibilities are wide-ranging. These are big dreams, of course. We are still learning about all the subtle properties of salt and similar materials, but the universe often hides powerful secrets in the most common things. That's a lesson we learn over and over in science. Who would have thought that sand, silicon dioxide, would become the basis for our entire digital age? Perhaps salt holds similar potential. We just need the curiosity to look, the ingenuity to understand, and the creativity to build. The future could be, in part, salty. Section 8. The Cosmic Responsibility Ethics of Energy Manipulation. Whenever science gives us new knowledge, it often gives us new power. The power to change our world, the power to build amazing things, the power to solve big problems. But with great power, as the saying goes, comes great responsibility. If we truly begin to understand how to harness or manipulate fundamental energies, perhaps using materials like salt or other methods, we must think very carefully about the consequences. This is a serious part of the scientific journey. What kind of consequences? Well, when you start playing with powerful forces, there can be unintended effects. Imagine throwing a big stone into a calm pond. The ripples spread out far and wide, affecting everything on the water's surface. If we were to, say, alter large-scale energy flows in the environment or even in space, could that have unexpected impacts on ecosystems, on planetary dynamics, on things we don't even understand yet? These are not science fiction questions. They are real ethical considerations for advanced science. We must proceed with caution and with wisdom. The goal of science is to understand the universe and often to improve human life. But we need to ensure that our pursuit of knowledge and new technologies doesn't create new problems that are bigger than the ones we are trying to solve. This means thinking about the long-term effects. It means being open about research. It means having public discussions about the ethical implications of new discoveries. It's about being good stewards of our planet and of any knowledge we gain about the cosmos. So as we explore the energetic secrets of salt or any other aspect of the universe, ethics must be our constant companion. It's not separate from science, it's an integral part of it. Our curiosity drives us forward, but our conscience must guide us. The universe is a vast and interconnected place. Our actions can have far-reaching effects. We have a responsibility to explore, to learn, and to innovate, but to do so thoughtfully and with a deep respect for the intricate web of existence. The cosmos is watching, and so are future generations. Section 9. The Great Exchange: Human Awareness and Universal Flow. We are not just observers of the universe, we are part of it, stardust, animated. Our human awareness, our consciousness, allows us to look out at the cosmos, to wonder about it, to study it, to try and understand its laws and its mysteries. This is a remarkable thing. The universe, through us, is becoming aware of itself. This capacity to question, to learn, to discover, is one of our most profound characteristics. It connects us directly to the grand cosmic unfolding. As our understanding of the universe grows, something interesting happens. Our relationship with it changes. Think about quantum physics. It tells us that the act of observing a system can change the system. The observer is not entirely separate from the observed. This is a mind-bending idea. Does our growing awareness of universal energies, of connections like those potentially facilitated by salt, somehow also influence these energies or our interaction with them? It's a deep philosophical question, but one that science nudges us towards. Salt, in our exploration, has become a symbol of these hidden connections. It links the mundane, a seasoning, to the profound, cosmic energy flows. It links our inner world, the electrochemistry of our brains, to the outer world, the physics of crystals and energy. It reminds us that everything is interconnected. The micro-world of atoms and ions, the macro-world of galaxies and universal forces, and our own conscious experience, which bridges these scales. It's a beautiful, intricate dance of matter, energy, and awareness. The journey of discovery is far from over. Salt is just one tiny piece of an infinitely vast and complex puzzle. But studying it, wondering about it, helps us appreciate the bigger picture. It shows us that the universe is full of potential, full of secrets waiting to be unlocked. And as we unlock them, we also unlock new potentials within ourselves. A deeper understanding, a greater sense of connection, a more profound awe for the cosmos and our place within it. From a simple grain of salt to the stars and back to the marvel of our own minds. Wow, what a universe.